far as stress goes, in your opinion, do you think procrastination is the reason why stress levels are higher this time of year, or is it just the overall overwhelming amount of assignments due this time of year?
I think procrastination has a lot to do with it, because from an academic standpoint, your professors, they're planners, and they have mapped out the entire semester. They have given assignments the whole way through, and they expect those assignments to have gotten done once they were assigned. And from the student perspective, that one professor, it's not just one professor, it's 4 or 5 professors. And so they get overwhelmed and they start deferring assignments. They start, not attending in a timely way. And then at some point in the semester, usually about now, the student realizes that the paper that they need to write that's due, 3 weeks ago they should have done an outline for. And 2 weeks ago they should have read, some articles about it. And 1 week ago they should have written a rough draft. But they hadn't done any of that. So now they've got 3 weeks of work on this one paper to do in the next 48 hours. So by procrastinating, by deferring those assignments, they've created this bolus of work that is like trying to eat an elephant and not bite by bite, but trying to stuff the whole elephant in your mouth at the same time. And students find that obviously impossible to do. And so they look at it and they do what they can in the time they have. And sometimes that means they get a C when they could have gotten a B, or they get a D when they could have gotten a C. So yeah, it's a contributing factor.
Okay, I saw that you guys have a self-help with a lot of helpful links to wherever they could be dealing with. For stress, in your opinion, what are some advice or tips you would give for them to not stress out?
I think the primary tip here is try not to be perfect. Some students say, I've got to get an A in this class. I think it'd be nice to get an A in the class, but do you have to? Really? Do you have to? Now, there are situations where if they don't get an A, their GPA drops below a certain level and they get, they get discontinued from the program sometimes. That might force them to change majors, So there are some critical elements, but, getting rid of this concept of trying to be perfect, I think that can let it go. If you're in this part of the semester and you've got a whole lot of work to do, maybe because of some procrastination, it's better to think about, let's just get the job done. Let's not worry about it being perfect. If I wanted it to be perfect, I would have started, a month ago. So kind of giving up on that idea. Thinking very pragmatically, I need to get this paper done. The paper needs to be 5 pages long. I need to write something in there that sounds reasonable, reasonably intelligent, and that's what I'm going to do. I think to some degree people can benefit from some of those breathing apps you saw. Just staying calm. The problem with the more excited we get or the more anxious we get, the less creative we are. And the more our memory can be impaired. So staying physically calm by doing relaxation, by doing meditation, by doing some of these breathing exercises can really give people a short but needed break without going to sleep or watching TV and starting to use their time unproductively, and get back to the task at hand. if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And these apps are wonderful. I mean, they're downloadable to your iPhone or your Android phone. So, and they're free. I mean, I didn't put apps on there that cost money because, and you don't even need your phone to do it. I mean, I have paper versions of this too. You can do it just if you teach yourself how to do it.
Mm-hmm. And they can just come see you to get those papers.
Yeah, I mean, I work regularly with the students. Sometimes one-on-one, sit down for 30 minutes and talk about the breathing exercises and the different thoughts that people sometimes engage in that aren't productive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's real important. I like people to call and make an appointment, and we try to be flexible and give the appointments as quickly as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, this is a stressful point in time, and so a lot of people are taking advantage of our services now. So sometimes people say, well, I need it right now. Well, if I have a therapist available, I'll provide it right now. But if I don't, you're going to have to wait. So.
Yeah, patience is a virtue.
It certainly can be. But really the best way to manage our stress is to, be forward-looking and try to map out the semester best you can. Other ways of managing stress are to seek help. And that help can come in the form of a tutor, a classmate, the professor themselves in terms of academics. I encourage people to take advantage of speaking with their academic advisor, usually a fairly well-informed person. If it's of a more personal nature, then, speaking to someone here in the counseling center. But, there are other resources. The Interfaith Center has some wonderful people in it, and they're happy to talk about anybody to anything about anything. And if it becomes more psychological, then they're going to engage us. But the Interfaith is a good site. The Women's Center is a great site. We've got some great people, Sheila Spivey and Mauricia Bishop over there, wonderful people. The LBGT Center has got some good people to talk to. If they're in a sorority or fraternity, I think turning to one of your fellow chapter members can be a resource, or access people in student affairs in general. We're really here for the students. We have a military veterans resource center here on campus. So if you've served in the military, they're a wonderful resource to those students. That's their niche, of course, obviously. We also have a disability resource center. So if a person has a documented disability, the DRC can be very helpful to them as well. So maybe part of this is to help manage your stress, know what the resources are on campus, and I like to think that's as easy as, getting on the webpage and saying, I need help with this, and see what comes up on the search for the university.